Hello, good evening. My name's Richard. This is Over and Over and Over Again, and this is, of course, the Euros 2022 Daily Live. Tonight, we are going to preview the two semi-finals coming up this week. Of course, the big one, England against Sweden, and the small matter of Germany against France as well, which is on Wednesday, of course. Also, so we're going to look back on the two quarterfinals played over the last couple of days. Obviously, the one last night that we were at, Holland against France, which was a great game. So we'll talk about that and just everything else to do with the Women's Euros. It'll be coming up the other side of this.
We'll be alright with Ellen White. Take the lead with Beth Mead. Williamson gets the job done and Lauren Hemp is heaven sent. Hear the Lionesses roar. Left foot, right foot, header. Left foot, right foot, head. I'm supporting England 'cause it's left foot, right foot, head.
It is indeed left foot, right foot, head, and we are supporting England, as you can see, as we have done for the last few weeks. Well, we have done, most of us have done for quite a long time. I'm delighted to be joined, of course, today by Andreas, as usual, and Matt as well. Good to see you again, Matt. You've not been on for a while. I know you're busy, so it's good to see you on as well. I mean, Andreas, you've had a good weekend.
Yeah, so far so good. Glad to be in the show and glad and happy to be in the middle of such a fantastic tournament to talk about.
Yeah, no, it's been amazing, hasn't it? And Matt as well. Good to see you again. You've been to many games lately because you've been going to a few, haven't you?
Yes. So the last of my games was the Netherlands Switzerland game.
Wow.
I've been doing a few other ones where I did the Netherlands against Portugal as well. I'm going to be honest. Going to Bramall Lane is very confusing if you've never been. It's almost like you wouldn't think it's there if you had never been there. It was almost like it felt like it was a box of offices or flats. It doesn't look like a stadium at all from the outside.
No, you're right. It doesn't, and because it's kind of in a sort of housing estate, isn't it, with streets and houses and stuff like that. So it is difficult to know. Obviously, I mean, what we found was, I mean, I have been there before previously a few times, but what I noticed was where we'd parked up, there was a lot of signs. There was like stewards on the street directing people where to go as well, which I thought was really good. And as well, coming back when we left the stadium, you know, there were loads of people asking us, do you know where you're going? Do you need any help to get where you need to go back to and stuff like that, which is really good, I thought. And that was nice. So yes, it is difficult to find, but there is help there if you're struggling. They've got, and I'm assuming it'll be the same on Tuesday as well for the semi-final. Probably maybe slightly less so, because I guess when you've got two teams outside of England playing, maybe they wouldn't know the area. Whereas I suppose when it's England playing, they would assume maybe that people know where they're going a little bit more. But even so, I'm sure they'll have some people there to help. And yeah, that was really nice, actually. That was a good touch. So, I mean, before we get on to the semi-finals, I suppose we need to start really with the quarterfinals, because they sort of happen first. Now, obviously, the other night we did talk about the first two quarterfinals, of course, England's win and then Germany's win. But since then, we've had two more. Of course, on Friday, it was, of course, our opponents, Sweden, playing against Belgium. We didn't know there was going to be our opponents at the time. And funnily enough, I felt that the last two quarterfinals were very similar games. One team dominating the game, should have scored a lot of goals, and in the end, it was a late goal for Sweden, and in the end, it was an extra time penalty for France. But they're very similar games, wasn't it? I mean, Andreas, what did you make of those two quarterfinals? I mean, the best team in those two games won, but they made difficult work of it, didn't they? Where they shouldn't have done.
Yeah, it was more difficult than it should have been, but the better teams qualified for the semi-finals. It was well deserved for Sweden, and I think more than well deserved for France yesterday. But especially Belgium did the best they could. They reached the quarterfinals, and we all knew that Belgium was the weakest team among the last 8, and so they did a very good job against Sweden. They tried to prevent Sweden from scoring, but they never really had a chance to win this match. And I don't think that it was offside when Stina scored in the first half. So if this goal would have counted, then probably Sweden would have won more comfortable. it's tragic to concede a goal in the 92nd minute, but yeah, the Belgian goalkeeper was the best player from their team. So yeah, I think it was sad for her, but all in all, Sweden really deserved this. But it was nothing that must have made us being afraid of.
No.
I think Sweden's a good team, but the way they played against Belgium showed that we can beat them in the semifinals.
Yeah, no, I agree, and I know it's going to be a different type of game, and you can never judge one game against another. That the teams play differently against other teams. It changes. And the onus was on them to attack in that game because Belgium are quite happy to sit back. Obviously, when they play us, we're going to more be looking to attack, and it's going to be a different. Sweden are going to have to perform differently in that game, aren't they? If it's going to be a different sort of game. So we'll see how that works out. I mean, Matt, what did you make of that Sweden game against Belgium? Obviously, Sweden should have won more comfortably. Let's be honest.
Yeah, and I think the issue was that they also had 3 players who were unofficially not allowed to play due to the rules at the moment. But we won't go into that. But I think they proved themselves to be quite comfortable and willing to go and attack these teams and give their all. They came second in the Olympics last year, so they're serial winners through their history, and they know what they're doing. They're not any spring chicken. Belgium, there would have been, if I'm honest, when we went to go and see the Belgium-Iceland game, I thought Iceland played a lot better than Belgium did on the day. And unfortunately, Belgium just getting the win against Italy, knocked Iceland out. So it could have been quite easily the other way around. And I have a feeling that had it been Iceland against instead of Belgium, Iceland would have had a go at Sweden a little bit more.
Yeah.
But when it comes to knockout football, I think even our girls know that all it takes is one chance to score. Lotta, with her chance against Wolfsburg, didn't take any chances in the second leg. And that's one of those problems that we're having at the moment is when it comes to these tournaments, who's going to score all the important goals? Okay, so Stina got one offside, but they had plenty of chances and eventually it just hit the back of the net. It came from about 3 yards out, but they all count at the end of it.
Yeah, they do. And I mean, I kind of agree with Andreas a little bit that I felt a little bit sorry for Belgium because they worked so hard to get the extra time and their plan was probably to try and take it to penalties and hope for the best, I suppose. And I felt a little bit sorry for them, but ultimately you've got to be happy for football when the best team on the day wins a game, I think. And Sweden were the best team; they deserved to win, and it was good to see them. And obviously, I was happy for Stina as well, obviously, because it's good to see her still in the tournament. Although we hope a run might be finishing quite soon with a bit of luck, but we'll talk about that in a minute. And we've actually got this is quite an historic moment actually because we've got a full house in today. We've got Amar, and look at this. This takes us back to the old days, doesn't it? All four of us
good to see everybody again.
At the same time, fantastic.
It's been a while.
All through the tournament, one reason or another, we haven't managed to get everybody in at the same time. So it's great that we have done tonight. So that's a great moment actually, and it's good that it's happened. As we're looking forward to such a big game that's coming up this week. I mean, obviously there was a game last night as well, which actually, Emma, I've gone quickly. Just what did you make of the Sweden and Belgium game? Because we've been talking about that actually. So we'll bring you in.
Yeah. Oh, it was attack versus defensive, really, wasn't it? I mean, we always had the feeling. It was never offside, by the way. I don't know how they can still judge with to do with Ellen White's toenail. Who can forget in Lyon 3 years ago, and now Stina Blackstenius. I don't know, shoulder blade, whatever that was offside. But yeah, it's like going back to what you see in the Premier League. But yeah, it was inevitable that I'd break them down. I always felt it was going to be from a set piece. But yeah, I don't think we've got anything to fear. In all honesty, yeah, they've been a bit of a bogey team in the past, but we don't fear them as much. We don't fear them as much going into the semi-final. I think we'll have them. But yeah, they you could see they struggled to break Belgium down. They were resilient and probably deserved extra time, but in the end, their patience told and they found a way. But let's be honest, they're going to have to be much more ruthless against England if they're going to get through that game.
Yeah, you would imagine so. But I mean, as I said earlier, it's going to be a different type of game, isn't it? I suppose, you know, we're obviously a lot better than Belgium, and Sweden will know that, and they're going to know it's going to be a different test. And we've got imperative views in the chat there. How you doing? Thanks for tuning in. It says that France needs to be clinical if their aspiration of winning the whole thing. Katota unavailable played a huge part. Yeah, it did. And also their Bienvenida Amar as well, which is quite nice.
Exactly.
Obviously, last night was a game. I was at that one at Rotherham. I've never been to Rotherham Stadium. I have to say that the ground is fantastic. It's only small, but it's a really, really nice ground. A fantastic view. It looks like from everywhere. Where we were, fantastic behind the goal. The atmosphere was sensational, actually. Only 9,000. Well, 9,000. I mean, the ground only holds about 12, so it was pretty full. The atmosphere was amazing. It was a good game. We was cheering for Holland, obviously. You know, because of Viv and all the Arsenal connections as well. But it was a good game of football. And France actually in that first half, very similar to how they played against Italy, they just ripped Holland to pieces. And how they didn't score 6 or 7 goals in that first half, I still don't know. I mean, they won't know. They'll probably be wondering themselves. But ultimately, if they'd lost that game, then they would have been kicking themselves, wouldn't they, for all those chances? I mean, the Dutch goalkeeper, I have to say, Daphne van Domselaar is incredible. What a tournament she's had. And we need a goalkeeper. So, what we need Jonas to get there, get on that deal and get it done, because we need a goalkeeper, and she would be fantastic. I mean, what an amazing tournament she's had. And last night, she was absolutely robbed of player of the match for me. Absolutely robbed.
Who was given player of the match?
That award.
It was the French player that came on during extra time, wasn't it?
Selma Basha.
Yeah.
Selma Basha.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, the substitute.
Okay.
I mean, she played well and she had an influence on the game. There's no doubt about that. But the goalkeeper, the Dutch goalkeeper, for 120 minutes was impeccable. She made probably 7, 8, 9, 10 saves, however many saves she made. It was just a fantastic performance. So when you think the night before, they'd given player of the match to the Belgium goalkeeper on the losing team, and she was at fault for the goal that locked them out. And yet they don't give player of the match to the Dutch goalkeeper, who was just incredible. And she was robbed of that. And I think we should start a petition to actually get her that trophy, because she deserves it. Because at a performance last night, it was just, her and Stephanie van der Graaf as well. I thought she was amazing at the back for Holland, but they didn't really offer enough going forward.
Van der Graaf,
ultimately, France deserved to win. It was a penalty. Why the referee didn't give it initially, I don't know. But anyway, France deserved to win. They had I say they had no fans. They had very, very tiny number of fans in the stadium. There was probably 7,000, 8,000 fans supporting Holland, and there was a few hundred knocked about supporting France. Some in the bottom corner and some by the dugouts, and that was it. And it was a strange atmosphere in that sense, but it was good for us because we was in with the Holland fans and they were going mad. It was brilliant. But yeah, France definitely deserved it. But as Imperative you just said there in the chat, they need to be more clinical, because if they miss those many chances against Germany, they're not going to get through, because Germany will bake and pay. Holland wasn't able to last night. They came close on 1 or 2 little occasions towards the end, but ultimately it would have been an injustice. As much as I was praying for Holland to score, it would have been a total injustice for football if Holland had won that game and gone through. So I didn't, I would have felt bad for France if that happened. But anyway, Andreas, what did you make of that game last night? Because, France were good, wasn't they? Really impressive in that first half in particular. That was the best team performance for 45 minutes I've probably seen since Germany, not involving England, obviously, since Germany against Denmark.
France was the better team. And although they had an away match, and it was a home match for the Dutch, but France deserved this win. And unbelievable! I think in the first half there were six clear goals from there were against Stephanie van der Graaf. She saved 3 times, amazingly, and Van Domselaar saved 3 times. So if it was 6-0 at halftime for France, it would have been normal. They really played to win, and I don't know whether German goalkeeper or defender will save as good as Van der Graaf and Van Domselaar did. But on the other side, France had so many chances and didn't score. So often in football matches, you lose such a game. You waste your chances.
Absolutely.
But, they deserved to win, and they were really a strong side yesterday, and it will be a very open and tough match, Germany against France. A lot of great players, great pace. And on the other side, I have to say that I was disappointed by the Dutch team. I think they have internal problems, and I can't see the coach being their coach for any longer. I think there are internal problems, and he doesn't find the right words, or he can't motivate, or his tactics are not the best. For me, it seems to be this is the main problem from the Dutch team, because they have such talented players, and that with was not the game, and DVD wasn't at the top. So it was disappointing from the Dutch, but a great performance from France.
Yeah, no, it was. I mean, I agree. I think that I don't know whether it is a communication issue with Mark Parsons in the Dutch team, or is it as well a little bit of the fact that when you're replacing such a great manager in Serena as he is doing, I do think that that's difficult as well, isn't it? But you know, I don't know. It's a tough one for them, and they didn't seem to be a happy bunch of players, did they? Let's be honest. And their performance last night kind of summed that up. I mean, Matt, what did you make of Viv's performance? Because to me, I didn't think she was fit. If I'm totally honest, I didn't think she was 100% fit. I mean, obviously she was fit enough to play. She got through 120 minutes, although she cramped up at the end. But what did you make of her performance? Because she didn't really influence the game at all, did she? Not her fault particularly, but it wasn't a great game from her, was it?
No, I think maybe it was the fact that maybe she has been locked in a room for 5 days, and she's only been able to do maybe yoga stretches and things like that. She's not been able to do anything that she would have perhaps wanted to do, like kick a ball around and join in with training. I know she gave an interview afterwards, and she did actually swear in Dutch just to say how bad her tournament went. But I think, to be honest, the fact that she's been playing so highly over the last, let's say 6 months. I know she's always been at that level, but she's taken it higher. You would have thought she would have been able to do something, but she's just not been able to do it. So I think she's sort of on a mini Beth Mead revenge tour when she comes back to Arsenal. That's for sure.
Let's hope so. That would be nice to see, wouldn't it? An angry Viv ripping up the WSL next season would be a great sight, wouldn't it? We'd all love that. I
think she knows for sure that if this is the last hurrah, go out all guns blazing, don't leave anything unmarked, make sure that we go out with a trophy or 2 or 3 before. A little bit of luck. Just Viv. Maybe that is the problem. Is maybe Viv needed the right manager to come along and tell her to carry on what she was doing, like Jonas has been doing with the punditry. Like he was telling off Rolfo because Rolfo wasn't playing very well in that Belgium game. And it takes a world-class coach. And if your only credentials are being a Chelsea reserve manager, then going over to the US and managing over in the US, but not having any Dutch connections at all, that's going to play a part. But a lot of the fans have said that now that they've lost the best manager in the world in Serena, they knew that it was always going to be tough, whoever came in next. And Mark might be the stepping stone manager, the interim manager, if you like, and until the next one comes in and then builds on that squad. It'll be interesting to see what happens with that squad now, whether or not they decide some of them will retire, some of them decide that they don't want to play for him, and that's why they say, no, we don't want to play for you. I know Jill joked about that and about players nodding off, but you need to be... Whatever, it feels like.
And then she got left out of the team yesterday as well. That was interesting, wasn't it?
I know it was more of a tactical decision, but
well, that's what he said.
Even when I've seen Jill play, she's been amazing also through this tournament, and so has Danny. Danny, in that Portugal game, she literally grabbed the game by the neck and just went, right, okay, if no one else is going to do it, I'll do it. And she was a joy to watch. That team is there, and it should be fighting on all fronts. It should be in the semi-finals. Unfortunately, there's something that's not right at the moment, and I can't really put my finger on it.
Yeah, I mean, it does seem to maybe come from the man. I mean, I thought, when we saw the team lineup and Jill wasn't starting, my initial thought was he's left her out because of stuff that she said. That was my initial thought, which to me would be stupid because it's a quarter final of a competition. Your own personal feelings have to be put aside for the benefit of the team. And she showed in the second half when she came on, she made a massive difference to how Holland played. They kept the ball better, they moved the ball quicker, and she was a big part of that. And that was a decision that ultimately I think, whether that was on its own cost Holland the opportunity to go through, I'm not sure if they were good enough anyway. But that was a big part of the reason why in that first half in particular they got so overrun. And if that was his decision based on that, then to me he should be sacked anyway. Just because you can't make decisions based on personal feelings, but you've got to base it on football because that's what your job is. So yeah, I thought that was very, very strange. And yeah, ultimately there are issues in the Dutch team along the way, and I do feel a little bit sorry for Mark Parsons because it's a difficult job, isn't it? You know, replacing someone like Serena, the success that she had, she won the Euros, got to the World Cup final. You know, how can you follow that up? It's very, very difficult. And he struggled, and he has struggled. There's no doubt about that. And I don't think he's got much longer left in the job, and they'll have to start again somewhere else. But they've got some very, very good young players. They've got some very good experienced players as well. And I agree that they should by right with the players that they've got have made the semi-final realistically. But unfortunately, last night they just was not good enough in any aspect of their play at all. Apart from defensively, they were pretty solid and sound, and they did defend for their lives. But ultimately, you've got to do more than that in a quarter final. To get through, and they didn't. So, I mean, Emma, what did you make of that game last night? Because I mean, France. I mean, I know we're talking about Holland's deficiencies, really, but France were good. Let's be honest, they were very good. In fact, they were frighteningly good in that first half. I was sitting there thinking, wow, the way they moved the ball so quickly, their front four was just screaming all over Holland. I'm thinking, you know, I felt a little bit sorry for Germany having to play them in the semi-final, and I wouldn't necessarily relish playing them in the final if we was to get there. So, I mean, what did you make of France? Because they were very good, weren't they?
Yeah, especially going forward, they were excellent. I thought who was it? It wasn't Gabriel. It was Gabriel who missed an absolute sitter towards the end of extra time, and he was it. But especially one player we've always been a massive fan of. Who I'd love to see playing the WSL is Cascarino. I think she's just got everything. She's got pace, she's got skills, she's got everything, and she even. I don't know. Was it her who missed the absolute? No, she hit the post with that brilliant shot yesterday, which was really unlucky. And then I can't remember who it was that. Was it Toletti who missed an absolute sitter from inside the box? And you're thinking, surely it's only a matter of time. But yeah, they look fantastic going forward. It reminded me of the way they played in that first half against Italy. But other than that, the two halves they played, they have flattered to deceive a little bit. But when they're on, they're really on. And even that player came, the player Basha came on, Tohon came on, and Deoro, and they've all got so much strength in depth forward in Mallard as well. It's scary, but it doesn't always stick for them as we saw. But that was certainly the best first half that I've seen from them since the Italy game.
Yeah, they were. That first half was. I mean, we were in Holland and we were cheering for Holland. I had a Holland shirt on, and I was, really hoping that Holland would win. But in that first half, you had to just sit back and say, "Wow, these are a very, very good team, and they are definitely a threat to win the competition now." I think. But yes, they do need to be more clinical because you can't miss as many chances as they missed last night. You just can't do that again and get away with it. They got away with it last night because we mentioned Holland have got their issues, but yeah, you're not going to be able to get away with that too often. I wouldn't imagine. Gregory says there, if Mead can maintain a level of play, do we need Viv or someone else to feed Mead the ball? Well, I mean, Viv can feed her the ball. Get everybody to feed her the ball. I would say she's playing like she is. That should be one of the team talks for the game. Just give the ball to Beth and let her do her stuff. It seems to be working very nicely at the moment, but we don't know. Yeah, I mean, obviously, I'd like to see other options as well in the Arsenal team going forward, and I'm sure we'll buy some players. We've got to, and I'm sure we.
Nicole Bia. I'd love to see Nicole Bia play for Arsenal.
Well, no, I don't think so.
Andreas's face.
No. Why not?
Yeah.
Why not? She's a great option, I think. But anyway.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
There is somebody else. Maybe one more forward, but yeah, let's see.
Yeah, I think we do need another forward. I wouldn't say no to a forward.
In
previews, did Jill's exclusion play a part in Viv's performance? Possibly. Viv prefers to drop in the number 10 hole, and Jill covers the hole left by Viv. Yeah, I mean, that's true. And I thought in the second half, it worked better, didn't it? Holland played a lot better with Jill on the pitch. So it was, it obviously would have affected Viv's performance because she didn't get the ball in the first half, did she? I think she touched it maybe 3 times, if that. And in the second half, she had a little bit more impact, but again, it was pretty minimal. I mean, Holland's attack in general was pretty minimal, wasn't it? Let's be honest. They didn't really.
Don't remember.
You can tell Viv gets frustrated when she ends up going all the way back to defend to go and win the ball again.
Yeah, I mean, I said that it was. I don't know if it was in extra time or if it was in the second half of the game now because it seemed to go on forever. But I remember there was a point when Viv was basically in her own half and Holland were attacking, and I was screaming, Viv, what are you doing there? Get yourself forward. You need a goal. And I think they must have been losing at that point. Actually, it must have been
extra time for a tackle as well, didn't she?
And it's like, just get yourself forward because if you're up there running the pitch and the ball falls to you, you've got the quality to do something amazing and get a goal. You're no good in your own half when you need a goal and your team wants to attack. I just thought she did drop very deep. And yeah, it is a sign of frustration with her. She does it with Arsenal sometimes as well, doesn't she? But yeah, I mean, I wanted to see her more getting into the box and, trying to make things happen up there. And unfortunately, she did get let down by her teammates a couple of times. There was one ball she played early in the second half. She did a great run in from the left-hand side, played the ball in to the edge of the box. I can't remember who it was now. And they needed to do it first time, but they wanted to, they left it, took a touch, and then obviously Wendy Reynard came across and dealt with it because that's what Wendy Reynard does. You can't give her a second chance. You just got to hit it. And it just needed to be hit. And you could see Viv kind of a look on her face when that chance went, and it was like, I think she was getting frustrated. But ultimately, she should be able to maybe deal with that sometimes a bit better. And, I don't know. But anyway, it wasn't her fault. They lost, obviously. We're not trying to blame her because it was a poor performance all round, really, from Holland. And they got what was coming to them in the end, I guess. And Pettiview says, I wasn't surprised with how the game panned out. Netherlands were lucky to get past the Swiss in the first place. Well, they were a little bit. I mean, I was slightly surprised how the game panned out. I thought Holland would. I was tipping Holland to maybe cause a bit of a surprise and win the game because of the quality that they've got individually. But obviously, the other issue maybe outweighed that in the end. And yeah, once the first 10 minutes, 15 minutes was gone, I wasn't surprised how the game went because you could see that France were the dominant team. It was just how long it took them to get the goal, I suppose. It was a surprise. Terry says, how do you think that loser Southgate feels knowing England women are Euro champions and the men that are coming home early from the World Cup? Well, both of those two things haven't quite happened yet, have they? So let's not...
second favourites, mate. We're second favourites.
There's a chance they both may happen, let's be honest, but at the moment they haven't. So I'm gonna remain optimistic for the women for the time being because we're still in the competition doing well. And when it comes to the World Cup, we'll look at that when it gets nearer the time. But I'm not overly optimistic about England's chances with Gareth Southgate as manager. But anyway, we'll have to see. Pettiview's question: who's the favourite to win the whole thing for you guys? Germany for me. Well, obviously, there's only one team that we want to win, obviously, apart from Andreas, of course, we'll let him off. But obviously, the three of us obviously want England to win. Are we favourites? That's quite interesting now. And obviously, I think we've got the 4 best teams left in the tournament that have been in the tournament. It is the 4 best teams. It's the right semi-finals. I mean, Andreas, who would you say is favourite at the moment, what we've seen so far of all the teams that's left? Who would you say are the favourites? Is it Germany?
No, I don't think so. The favorite in the first semi-final is for me England against Sweden, and in the second, after yesterday's performance, I think France is slightly favourite against Germany. So it will be decided between England and France, I would say, at the moment.
Really?
Difficult to say. All 4 of them could do it. Playing at home is an advantage for England. I don't see pressure. Maybe it was a pressure in the first match, in the opening match of the tournament. We saw Austria, but now it's not a pressure, but it's an advantage. The crowd seems to carry them on in difficult moments. So for me, England or France at the moment. I couldn't bet for one or the other.
I mean, see, I think that these 2 semi-finals are both very, very evenly matched, actually. Yes, I think England got an advantage being at home. Yes, I agree that is an advantage, definitely. And the fact that we've got the momentum from the previous performances because we're playing well. And I think that's important as well. Whereas I think Sweden have been, they haven't played badly, but they haven't really hit the heights very much in this tournament. They've done what they've needed to do, and there's no reason to suggest they can't do the same again on Tuesday. But I think England may be slight favourites to win that game slightly. I think the other semi-final for me it's a toss of a coin. I really cannot choose. I don't know who's going to win that game, because I think, we know Germany on their day are good enough to beat anybody. We've seen France play some amazing football in this tournament, but equally they've got weaknesses as well. And I think that game could go either way, actually. That's the one that, they both could, so both semi-finals could, but that one I really cannot call that at all. I wouldn't even when I hazard a guess as who's going to get through in that game. I just have not got a clue, because I think they're so evenly matched. And if they both play at their maximum level, that will be, first of all, one hell of a game. And secondly, I think it could go either way. And that's going to be a really interesting game for me, actually, that one as well. But, we'll worry about that one when we've got Tuesday out of the way first, because that's obviously going to be... Matt, what about yourself? Who do you think is the favourites now to get to the final and to win it, or to win it now, really?
I think I would have to go with Sweden. Realistically, England have been here before.
I'm glad you're going for Sweden. I'm pleased about that.
It's just, I think Sweden, they're used to winning things. The Olympics, they came second, so they want to improve on that. On top of that, they've been there, done that, got the T-shirt. The England squad haven't. You've got the only player to go to the final. Andrea, I think, and I've annoyed Andreas with those talk. The only player from that England squad to actually reach the final was Jill Scott. That's how long ago it was since we were in the final of a European Championship, and I believe it was against Sweden in the final. So it's going to be an interesting one. I think if I had to pick a winner of the other final, I think with the way that France attack, I think that they would start to tire if they carried that on. And if that's their philosophy, I think that lies into Germany's hands quite a lot, because their youthful aspect, along with the experience. Alexandra Popp scoring for fun at the moment. She's the first ever player to score 4 in a row. And the fact it's been her first Euros, I'm sure she's loving it at the moment.
She's been brilliant.
This is the problem with England as well, is that we've got a group of right-footed players and one left-footed player in Alex Greenwood. So everyone's putting their, as we saw against Spain, we were put onto our weaker foots, and that's where we weren't able to play as well as we have done against, say, Norway or the other teams that we've faced. We've had some tough group games, the Austrian game, the Spain game. I just think Sweden will be the main threat. I have a feeling France will run out of legs, if I'm honest.
They've tended to do that, haven't they? They start games really strongly, as they did last night, as they did against Italy, and then they do seem to run out of legs a little bit. And if they do that against Germany are a 90-minute team, aren't they? So Germany are going to stay at that level for 90 minutes, because that's what they always do, and that's what they've done throughout the tournament. They've been very solid and consistent all the way through in every game. Yes, Austria had moments against them, certainly, and could have scored a couple of goals, but Germany didn't run out of steam or ideas. They kept going, and eventually it paid off, and they got the goal at the end. And I think that could be France's problem. But if France start the way they've started some of these games, if they get 2 or 3 goals in the first half, then even if they run out of steam, that they should be able to hold on despite that fact. So I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see how that game. That's the one I really can't call. Actually, really can't. I mean, I am fairly confident of the England game. I wouldn't say I'm taking it for granted that we'll win, because Sweden are a good side, as you say, Matt. You're right. They are a very good team, and they've got players that are used to being in these big games. They've done it a lot, haven't they? Yes, they did lose a semi-final with the World Cup. So along with us, we did as well, of course. But they did get to the final, of course, of the Olympics, the last 2 Olympics actually, and they've reached semi-finals and finals before, haven't they, of tournaments? So they know what it's about, and they've got that experience and mindset for it that maybe we don't quite. This is our 4th semi-final in a row, isn't it? In the last 4 competitions now, we've lost the previous 3. And we've got to put that to bed, haven't we? Now this is our opportunity to do that, and to say, right, we're going to get into a final. We haven't been in a final, like you said, since Jill Scott was still playing, when she was playing regularly in the team. 2009. And we know what happened in that particular final, which we don't really want to talk about. I mean, Terry's kind of mentioned it there. He says, what Matt means is 6-2 in the win against Germany. I don't think it's quite going to be 6-2.
It'll be quite a nice fairy tale though for an England-Germany Euros final.
Yeah,
with the history of it all, it'll be quite nice. I think it'll be a good atmosphere at Wembley as well. There'll be no love lost.
I think that's the dream final, isn't it? I think we've all said that, and I know we maybe feel like that a bit more because of Andreas on our team and stuff like that. But I think even before the tournament started, I think a lot of people wanted it or fancied an England-Germany final, and it would be fantastic, like you said. We've lost some big games to Germany, semi-finals in the men a couple of times, Euro 96 and all this kind of stuff. And I think it would be nice for England and Germany to meet in the final again, 1966 all over again. The only time we've won anything, it was against Germany in the final. So maybe that's what we need. Maybe we need to play Germany in the final to win, perhaps, because that's the only other time we've played in a sort of. I suppose we did play the European final, but we forget that because that doesn't count. I mean, Emma, who's your favourites then now to be in the final and then ultimately win it? Obviously, England. Who?
Yeah, I mean, England have got better as the tournament's gone on, but for me, I can't look past Germany. I just think they've been fantastic from the get-go. Really, so they just blew away Denmark, and then they, especially in the quarter-final against Austria, when the going was tough, they never really panicked. You could sense, and they always had it within them. But I can't see France making the same mistake in the semi-final with consistently trying to play it out the back and then end up that costing the team. But yeah, you can see there's a reason they won the whole. Let's not forget. I know it was 15 years ago, but they won the whole tournament in winning the 2007 World Cup without conceding a single goal, and potentially they're on course to do that again 15 years later. And you can see that it's because they have a very good keeper in Fromes. Their defense is very, very solid, and going forward, they can hurt you wherever. All the Wolfsburg and even the players they left on the bench the other day. I thought, oh my God, their bench is scarily good too. And they can leave out the likes of Wasmut and whoever else they left on the bench. But yeah, they've definitely been the most impressive. And they beat Spain, and then of course they beat who's it? They played in their last group game of Finland. Yeah, but they just haven't looked like conceding a goal. And so I would make them the favourites. But and the record against France is pretty good too. I don't think I can remember them ever having lost to France in a. I could be wrong, obviously, but I don't recall France having such a great record against them. So yeah, I would make them slight favourites against France, and then I think they'll probably end up playing England in the final, but we'll see.
I mean, that's what we want, obviously. I mean, the fact England play first means that we know that we're there, and then we can relax on Wednesday then and enjoy the game, and whoever we get. But yeah, I think we would like it to be Germany. I think really. Even though, I mean, whoever gets through that game is going to be a tough game anyway. If we're in the final, if we play Germany or France, it's going to be a really difficult game, and we're going to have to be at our best to have a chance of winning. But I mean, I'm not writing off Sweden yet.
No, you wouldn't.
Sweden are a very good team, and I do think that's going to be a very, very difficult game. But having said that, I'm confident that we can win. I don't think it's going to be easy. I think it's going to be a tight game, but I am confident that we can win. And then if we do, then we can obviously worry about the final after we've seen Wednesday's game and obviously assess the kind of pros and cons of it. From the imperative view, says Germany's midfield is their strength, which is one of their main strengths. Yes, they've got strengths all through the team. They don't have. I mean, Germany. The problem with Germany is they don't seem to have a weakness. That's the issue. Not so much the strength.
The strength is they have no weakness.
Yeah, that's to me. They don't really have an obvious weakness. I think all the other three teams in the semi-finals, and I include England in that, I do think that there are weaknesses there that you can sort of see, and if the other team have got the option to exploit that. Whereas with Germany, you look at them and you can't really see a weakness. I mean, Austria did exploit a little bits of space and created some chances against Germany, but there isn't an obvious weakness in that Germany team, I don't think. And that's a kind of a worry. Whereas with France, I think they have got a weakness. They don't take their chances and stuff like that. So they've got a couple of injury issues, stuff like that. So I don't know. But with Germany, I'm worried that they don't really have too much of a weakness, actually. Imperative View says there, Angel Dahl is literally Thomas Partey in disguise. Both of them can't hit the target. I mean, that was strange. The other night, we were saying that we were watching the game. Literally, she must have had about 10 shots, and none of them went anywhere near the goal. It was quite funny, actually. And it was a little bit like Thomas Partey. He has scored a couple of goals, and obviously, I know Angel Dahl obviously scored a couple of goals in the previous game, but she was very shooty the other night. It was maybe that was what the tactics were, get her to shoot from outside the box, and it didn't really work. particularly. But yeah, there was a few that went more in the crowd. But anyway, Imperative View says 3-1 to the Lionesses.
I'm saying the same. 3-1
for Tuesday. That would be amazing. Terry says 4-1. Well, Terry's always optimistic. That's why we love him so much. He says 4-1 England and Stina Blackstenius with their only goal. Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I wouldn't be too disappointed if we win and Stina scores for Sweden. I've got to be honest, I'd be quite happy with that. That'd be a perfect night almost. Yeah, you want a clean sheet. But if we win and Stina scored for Sweden, then I'll take that all day long. I'll be quite happy. I'll go over with a smile on my face. Terry says, Sweden don't play to Stina's one. Do you know what? You say that they don't play to Stina's strength, and I totally agree. Every time I've watched Sweden, you see some great runs Stina makes, and I'm screaming at them, pass her the ball, and they don't.
Yeah.
She hardly ever gets the right service that she needs. And yes, she still scores goals for Sweden, but she should score a lot more, and she would score a lot more if they gave her the right service. I 100% agree with you. I often scream at the telly watching Sweden. When we were at the game that we went to when they played Holland, and she came on as a sub, and there were so many times she made a brilliant run. Give her the ball. Just give her the ball, and they don't. And when they did give her the ball the other day, and she scored, they gave her offside. And it's like, if you give her that service enough, she'll score goals all day long, because that's what. As soon as she got that ball, ran through on goal, I knew she would score. I wasn't even doubting it. I knew she would score.
Yeah,
and she did the same in the previous game when she got a couple of disallowed. She just maybe needs to just watch her runs a little bit. I mean, that one the other day, her run was perfect because she bent it back just to get onside. It was a perfect run, but sometimes she goes a little bit too early. She's done it for Arsenal a few times, hasn't she? She's had a couple of goals disallowed for offside. She does just need to watch that. But yeah, they don't play too much.
Stina is a bit of an oddball as well, because considering how tall she is, you would think that they would be happy to play that ball over the top and she can knock it on and have those shots on goals. But she prefers it to feet. It's really odd. Yeah,
I mean, I don't know. They don't seem to be able to bring the best out of her, I don't think, personally. But anyway, I mean, you know, she does all right for Sweden, so I'm sure she's going to be a big threat against us. There's no doubt about that. The good thing from my point of view as well, I mean, obviously Leah Williamson knows her really, really well. She's played against her in training for the last 6 months, and Millie Bright's obviously played against her before as well for Chelsea.
Magda as well.
All the England team have played against her as well, so they kind of know her strengths and her weaknesses, and I think the fact that Leah knows her really, really well, that is going to be quite key, I think, actually, to how we can keep her quiet, because I do think she's a big threat. I think she's been one of their best players in the tournament, actually. She only scored 1 goal, but I think she's been pretty good in every single game, so she will be a threat. But yeah, good thing is we know her, our players know her pretty well, and I'm sure Leah will be telling Serena this is what we need to do to stop pretty sure she'll be telling her. Imperative View says Germany are really composed, unlike the Dutch, and they can sit back and hurt France. I'm like, yeah, they can. They are composed, exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. They don't have an obvious weakness to beat Germany, and that's a worry if we've got to play them in the final, because you know you need to. Serena's all about exploiting other teams' weaknesses, isn't she? And I don't know what she's going to do against Germany. I mean, we did beat Germany in the Arnold Clark Cup, of course, so she's got that in her locker as well. I know that wasn't the same Germany team we're seeing now in terms of the way they were performing, and they're performing a lot better now, but ultimately we've got that to fall back on, I suppose. Terry says Germany's weakness is England. Ask Andrew as well. I don't know if it is really, but anyway, we'll see. I mean, Andreas had a great time in England, so he's happy enough with that. Imperative View says Rolfo has massively underperformed. Yes, she has. She's played well in little fits and starts, hasn't she? But overall, she hasn't been that great, really.
Right.
But having said that, you know, she's a great player, and great players in tournaments tend to have a game where they do have a performance. They put a performance in, don't they? It happens every single tournament. You see players that have been disappointing and suddenly explode on one game. And who knows, if it's on Tuesday, then we could be in trouble, because she's a fantastic player. But again, she's another player that we know well, our players know well. So, you know, we put on Serena will know her well as well. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, I mean, I'm pretty confident England will win. And I say the other game, I just do not have a clue. I do not have a clue who's going to win that other semi-final. I could not tell you. It could go either way, and I just hope that we're looking at it from the perspective of looking forward to who we might be playing, as opposed to just enjoying the game for what it is. I want to hope that we've got something riding on it for us as well, because to be in the final would be fantastic, wouldn't it?
Yes.
You know, it's been a great tournament. I think we've hosted it really well, actually, as well. And I think that's important. It's been massively important for women's football, for girls trying to take up football in this country, that the exposure that the tournament's got. And everything about it, it's been fantastic. It really has. And I think that it would be a shame if England aren't in the final now, to finish it off in the right way. You know, if we win or lose the final, yes, that is be disappointing if we don't win it. But I think it's massively important that that's the right way for this tournament to finish, with England in the final. let's hope on Tuesday Sweden play along with that little game and they decide that they're not going to win. And we can win. Not that they need to let us win because we're good enough to beat them, but I hope that's the way it goes, because maybe that's a little bit poetic or romantic, whatever it is. But I do feel as though this tournament needs England to be in the final, and I think England deserve to be in the final, not only for the way the team have played, not only for Serena's fantastic management and her team, but also for the way the country's got behind the tournament, the way it's been hosted, everything about it. England deserve to be in the final, and let's hope that we perform on the pitch on Tuesday to earn that right to be there, and I'm sure we will. I have no doubt that we'll perform well enough to win the game. Let's hope that we do. And Petty Views has got a good question for us there. Player of the tournament so far. That is a very, very interesting question, because there's been a few standout players. Obviously, from an England perspective, an Arsenal perspective, we would probably look towards Beth Mead, but ultimately there's been. I like the Dutch goalkeeper Van Domselaar. I think she's been amazing all the way through. She wasn't even expected to play. She played 5 times for Holland before this tournament. That's all. And she's come in unexpectedly and been brilliant. So she would certainly be one of the players of the tournament, without a shadow of a doubt for me. I mean, Andreas, what players have really stood out for you? There's been a lot, hasn't there? Actually, France have had several that have stood out. Germany as well. Obviously, Alexander Pop, that we've mentioned, had a great tournament. There's been a lot, hasn't there?
Yeah, it's too early to say who will be the player of the tournament, but so far it's Beth Mead from England, of course, and from Germany it's Alex Pop. She was in doubt to play the Euros because she was injured nearly 1 year, and then when she was back short before the tournament, she had this positive COVID test. You didn't know, could she take part? And then in the first match she came in as a sub. But she proved her importance for the team, and she's a really leader for the team, and she made a goal in every single match. So I think maybe so far we could say Alex Pop is the player of the tournament, but we'll have to see. A big advantage for Germany is the mentality and the confidence to win. This is really extreme what they showed in their 4 matches so far. This winning mentality, unbelievable. I haven't expected this, and this makes Germany so strong. But back to the question. Let me, Alex Pop, the Dutch goalkeeper Van Domselaar. From France team, you could also say Wendy Renard, because
she's brilliant.
She's absolutely outstanding in defense, and she nearly gets every header in the box, but also every cross, every corner, every free kick. It's always Wendy Renard, and every header from her is a threat for a goal. So I hope she won't score the decisive goal against Germany, but if she does, then he could be player of the tournament.
I have to say, last night was the first time I've seen her play live in the stadium, and she was incredible. She's the female version of Virgil van Dijk.
That's exactly what I was thinking. It's exactly what I was thinking. Exactly, she's Van Dijk.
She's so dominant in the air. You don't get past her on the ground. She's just a fantastic player, great defender. And to see her live last night was amazing to see her actually play live, and she had a great game last night as well. She was brilliant at both ends. She could have scored 3 or 4 goals. If it wasn't for Van Domselaar's save, she would have scored 2 or 3. You could see how frustrated she was at the end when she was sort of looking to the heavens, wasn't she? Saying, "How on earth have I not scored in this game?" She was brilliant last night. It was a pleasure to see her play actually. She does remind me of. She is the female Virgil van Dijk, as far as I'm concerned. Best defender in the world. We love Millie Bright, and she's great as well. But I think Wendy Renard is a totally different level for that. So she would be in a conversation. Another player for me, actually, obviously we'll see her on Tuesday, is Aslani of Sweden. I think she's had a brilliant tournament. Really good tournament she's had, and I wouldn't be surprised if she's going to be. We'll have to watch her as well on Tuesday. I mean, Matt, who would be your player of the tournament then so far? There's been so many that have stood out. Really, it's difficult to pick, isn't it?
Yeah, trying to pick one that's not Arsenal related. Unfortunately, Terry's taken it. It's Kira Walsh. From the England perspective, the way she's made the team tick has been amazing, and it's nice to see that she's getting a little bit more recognition. And it's been incredible to see her play. If I had to pick other players that from the teams that I've seen play. Pelova has been amazing to see. She's really makes that a difference when she's coming on. That Buchanan from Switzerland, she was amazing. Buchanan. Even the Swiss goalkeeper, it's lost from the back of my mind, but she was making save after save against the Netherlands in that game. She was brilliant. Unfortunately, because they lost Leah, they fell apart, and that's what ended their campaign for them. Austria, I think you could pick anyone from Austria because they've been amazing.
Laura did well, didn't she? Laura had a good tournament.
Yeah, Laura has. I didn't even really recognise her because she changed her hair.
Yes,
she has like a man bun now. It's a bit odd, but yeah. Manu did have.
Do we call it a female bun now that she's got one? And I don't know, we need to, perhaps. I'm not sure. But anyway.
Cinnabon or something like that. I should call it a Cinnabon.
Yeah, it does look cool.
It was. Trying to think of the others. Jonsdotter again, going around against Belgium and showing off her talent. I didn't believe that she'd only been at Wolfsburg for a season, but I think she's going to have a good couple of years ahead of her. I think there's none of the Portuguese players really, were that good. They were diving on the floor every 5 minutes when they were being touched.
Spain.
So yeah. So it's been an interesting tournament. There's been some great players, and unfortunately, there's been some divers as well included in that.
Well, yeah, there has, unfortunately.
I know it's been hot, but you don't need a put in a swimming pool in Lee Sports Village for that.
No, it has been hot actually most of the time, which has been good actually. But yeah, but no, I mean there has been a lot of really good performances actually from players throughout the tournament, and it's been great to see because that's what's made the tournament what it has been as well. A load of great players producing great performances, week in, week out, or game in, game out, really. I mean, what would be your players of the tournament? I think it's difficult to pick one, actually, at the moment, one out overall, because there's been so many that have contributed really well to what we've seen. I mean, which ones would maybe have got your attention over the last?
I mean, it's really difficult. You've mentioned a lot of the ones I was going to say there. You could make a case for almost anybody, really. Not almost anybody. But Jonsdotter, as Matt was saying, for Iceland, Riley Billy Bright, Kira Walsh. But I would also make cases for Toon and Russo, who have been absolutely outstanding when they come off the bench as well. The impact their know-how is like how would you say, it's like clockwork. They know each other inside out. And then we've had also Bonmati, who was very impressive the other night when I was there at the Amex. She broke up the play really well and linked up well in linking up Spain's attacks. But yeah, I think for me, I just there's a player who I really like a lot, and I know I've said it before, but it's Cascarino for me. Yeah, it's just so pacey down the wings and scores great goals and frightens the heck out of defenders. And it's just all got it all. So she'd be a standout, as would probably we could make a case for any of the German players as well. But Pop Agula has been very good in taking her chances too. So yeah, those are the players I'd say that stand out for me. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, so what happened now? Matt's gone. Oh, God.
No, I'm here.
Oh, sorry, I meant Richard's gone. Sorry.
Probably didn't agree with what you said, and then he thought, okay, then I'll go.
I kind of agree with you, Amar. Like, Russo's been amazing. Like,
she's been superb. I mean, that goal she's got in Northern Ireland, it's brilliant. Might be with Dennis Bergkamp.
It's been amazing to see Alicia Russo be used a little bit more. I have to go back to that Northern Ireland goal where she made that turn. It was almost so Arsenal-like that I've never seen any other striker do that before since Dennis Bergkamp, I would probably say.
Yeah, exactly what I was saying. Exactly.
And
he's back. Is he? Oh, no. Where is he?
I think his internet's dropped, so...
Oh, no. He's coming back to...
I'll just try and go through some of those comments, because... so, Georgia Stanway should be in the conversation.
Yeah, Pop has scored in every game. Yeah, he's always been
Pop
popping up in the right place.
every goal. Kira Walsh has had a great Euro so far. I think we've covered that.
Sorry, Terry says that Mary Earps.
Yeah, I don't know what bugs me. I was talking to a few friends about her, and she has Pickford face. If you know what I mean. Whenever she goes to grab the ball, she almost goes, and it's like a resting Pickford face. If you know what I mean. I don't know if it's just a goalkeeper's thing, but it's
she hadn't to do that much. It was this one fantastic save with her fingertips against Spain. But from the goalkeepers, I think so far the Dutch goalkeeper Van Domselaar is the best.
Oh, super. 22 place for 20. I mean, surely 20. Somebody will snap her up from FC 20 sooner rather than later.
I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of the WSL clubs or some of the others.
All due respect to Fran Stensen, I think she's a great goalkeeper, but Van Domselaar would be an upgrade.
Mm-hmm. I said we should sign her and make it an open race between Van Domselaar and Manu. That should play.
I can see them two really pushing each other as well. That's the thing. Do you see Fran pushing Manu to be that number one?
Yeah, Fran hasn't got the real chance in the last time. But,
No, I mean, they could make a case for anybody, but it's been great.
So, what other comments? Russo could become a real beast of a player.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, Russo should get a chance against Sweden.
I've heard that she doesn't want to stay at Manchester United. I don't know whether I heard earlier this summer, but she's not going to sign a new contract. So we didn't see who snaps her up.
Yeah,
that would be an interesting one because obviously she wouldn't want to go to Man City, so that leaves Arsenal, Chelsea. I don't really see her getting into the Chelsea side. So,
Chelsea got so much. They signed duos. They signed Svidcover as well, didn't they? They got Lauren James, Pernilla Harder, Kirby Kerr. They don't need Russo.
Yeah, they don't need any attacker.
And Jesse Fleming, of course.
Yeah.
Speaking of Canadians, we've got another comment here. Does anyone have a favourite Canadian player? Canada did lose their CONCACAF Cup final to the US 1-0.
Yeah. I don't know, but I'd say if I had a favourite Canadian player of all time, it would be Christine Sinclair. She's just brilliant, yeah.
But she's retired.
Oh, she retired? Oh, she hasn't she? Sorry. All-time Canadian. Current squad, I don't know. It's difficult, but I'd say... who could have the current Canadian? Sophie Schmidt still around? No, I don't know. It's difficult, really, but yeah.
Yeah, Jesse Fleming has developed...
Jesse Fleming.
It's difficult to get playing time at Chelsea, and she managed it. So to be in the lineup, she developed. Maybe she's currently one of the best Canadians.
Yeah, Imperative View says if you guys could have one player, who would that be? And that's a toughie. But for me, if it was available, I'd sign Selma Basha. Sinclair. Oh, she's still playing in the WSL in the US. Yeah. Who's saying Millie Bright average? What have you been watching?
No, Millie Bright was average. Although she's wearing a blue shirt normally, but you have to say she's really very, very good in defense. She gets a lot of headers. And when we were under pressure, Millie Bright had some really good saves and prevented the others from scoring.
Oh, Terry. Oh, Terry. Greg Gruzetsky's retired.
I can't really name any of the Canadian players. Who's the one at PSG?
Chelsea, yeah.
I'm trying to remember the one at PSG, but I can't remember the name at the top of it.
Oh, Huitema.
Yeah, Jordan Huitema.
Jordan Huitema.
She's quite a good fullback, and I think that with her speed and everything, that would help Casey got to be more forward. There he is.
Hey, I'm back. Sorry, guys. Thanks for carrying on.
Quickly, Andreas, can I ask you something quickly? Sorry, Richard.
Now go on.
Isn't Jordan Huitema, isn't her boyfriend Alphonso Davis?
She was in a relationship with Davis, but they broke.
Okay. I'm sorry to hear that. I didn't know that. Fair enough.
Maybe that's the reason why she went back to. I think she went to the US.
Oh right. Okay.
She left PSG, and maybe it's because they broke up.
Oh yeah, Adriana Leon. That's another one. Yeah, she signed with United. That's a good point. No, sorry, Richard. It's just in the chat. Who's your favorite Canadian player? They were asking in the chat, who's your favorite Canadian player, basically, yeah.
I just got to put there Rosetsky. Is that what you mean?
He's a tennis player.
That's pretty good, actually. Well, technically, he was sort of British, wasn't he, in the end? But yeah, I suppose he was Canadian, wasn't he? Anyway, I'm trying to catch up on what's been going on. What happened was actually, I don't know if my internet went off. It sort of did. And then when it came back, but for some reason, it wouldn't let me access my camera or my microphone. So I couldn't actually do anything. So I had to restart my computer again, and now it's worked. So I don't really know what was going on. But anyway, I'm just sort of looking through some of the. I know you guys were I could hear you, and I just couldn't do anything else. So I had to restart my computer. So I missed bits and pieces of it. I saw bits of other stuff that was going on. I'm just trying to see what we've missed really. Imperative View says Fleming as a Canadian player. Yeah, I mean Fleming's good, isn't she? Has she left Chelsea now? She has, hasn't she?
No. She's still at Chelsea.
I don't know if you've not left Chelsea.
I think she's in her last year, isn't she? Because there's like 8 or 9 of their players that are going to leave at the end of the season if they don't renew their contracts with them.
I wasn't sure if she's left or not. Gregory said there, Adriana
she did.
Just signed with Man United. Really?
Yeah, Russo's on her way out. She's not signing a new contract.
Well, why don't we buy her then?
That's what I'm saying. We should get a Russo. Yeah, absolutely. Nicole Billa's going to be far, but Russo.
Look, listen. We love Jonas being on the BBC, right? We've enjoyed listening to him and wearing his trainers with his suit and that, right? He looks great and he looks cool and he's talking some sense. But ultimately, Jonas, do your job, mate, which is to sign players for Arsenal for the new season. Everyone else is signing players. We've got to get involved, man. Come on. You know, we love you on the telly.
We've got 8 weeks, still fine. Still got 7 weeks.
Was he on the BBC yesterday for the Holland?
No, he was supposed to be, but he wasn't. He was on for the Sweden-Belgium game. No, yesterday.
He would have been with Sweden's TV if he wasn't on the BBC.
Because we could see that there was 2. We were sort of reasonably not close enough to be able to see who was there, but we could see where the TV studio was, and they were sort of standing outside. It looked like there was 2 different TV crews there. Obviously, one would have been the BBC and one would have been something else. I don't know who it was. And there was a guy. It was a long way away. I couldn't really see who it was, but there was a guy like in a suit with sort of blondish hair. And I think, was that Jonas? I don't know if it was or not. I was hoping it was, but I was going to hang about and wait for him at the end and tell him, "Come on, mate, sign some players." But I don't know if it was him or not. I don't know if he was covering the game. But I suppose he'll be covering Tuesday's game, so I'll look out for him in Sheffield on Tuesday.
Yeah. Are you going to that game, Richard?
Yeah, I'm going on Tuesday. Yeah. See, what I did was I looked at the way the fixtures were worked out. I knew that if England won the quarter final, we'd be at Sheffield in the semi. So we booked the ticket at the start before the tournament even started for that semi final, right? And our faith has been paid off. So I'm delighted.
They're releasing the last few. Yeah, they're actually releasing the last few tickets for that tomorrow morning. But
they are
in Sheffield. So yeah.
Yeah, no, they are. They're releasing it. So if you haven't got one yet, try and get one. I think it's 10 o'clock tomorrow, isn't it? They're releasing another load of tickets. So if you're still looking for some, don't be scammed by a load of people that are trying to scam you out of money. Try and get one there if you can, because there are still some available, and it would be great to be there because it's going to be a fantastic night, obviously. So we've got. I've noticed we've got Razzie doesn't really like us in the chat. He's going, Arsenal will win next season like Arsenal men's team. Arsenal will never be a big team. Well, I mean, I think if you look at your history, you'll discover that in the women's game, Arsenal are still the most successful team ever, and in the men's team, we're the third most successful team ever. So actually, Arsenal are quite a big team in actual fact. So maybe what you need to do is after we finish the show, and I mean, you know, we appreciate you watching and appreciate your comments, but go and get a football history book and read up, and you'll see exactly how big.
Exactly.
and then you come back to us and we'll discuss Arsenal's fantastic history and what a great big team they are.
Just look up Big Acres.
Arsenal women haven't won anything for what, 3 years. Arsenal men haven't won anything for 2 years. So at the moment, we're not winning that much, although it's quite recent when you think about it. 2 and 3 years, it isn't that long ago, is it? Let's be honest. But anyway, he says, no, they're not. Okay, well, go and look at some history and come back to us, and that's fine, because you're wrong. But that's, you're entitled to be wrong, as indeed everybody.
He says Aston Villa and Forest are bigger.
No.
Because they've won the. Oh, here we go. He does actually. Aston Villa and Forest. Are Aston Villa and Forest bigger because they've won one trophy that we haven't won, despite the fact that we've won more league titles, more FA Cups, more everything else than all of them clubs put together? But they're still big enough because they both happen to fluke a European Cup when you only had to get through 3 rounds when they won it.
That was in the 80s.
You had to play the champions of Iceland, right? You had to play the champions of Iceland and countries like that now. You play somebody who finished 4th in Spain, which are like miles better than anyone that ever won the league in Iceland in the 90s.
Don't worry, Gregory. We will win Bling next season. We will win Bling, Gregory.
Yeah, exactly. Next year, Gregory says next year Arsenal wins. But yeah, I agree. I think Arsenal will be definitely Bling.
I think they'll win something next season. I think they will.
Raz says AFTV deluded fan base. Well, I would say that AFTV's fan base is kind of not deluded at all, because they always think we're terrible. When in actual fact, we're probably not as bad as they make out that we are. But anyway, not quite sure. Raz says Germany are the best team in the tournament. Well, at the moment, they're in the top 4, along with 3 other teams that are playing this week. So, they're in the top 4 so far. We'll see exactly what happens there. Actually, we put on Gregory says 8 Canadians playing the WSL in England. Is it 8? Is there? Okay.
I can name all of them anyway.
I didn't know there was that many. I knew there was 4 or 5, but I wasn't.
Buchanan and Fleming got in Leon.
Yeah. But, it's 8 years. Okay. That would be good. So obviously that must be, obviously Canada are a great side. They've been great in history, haven't they? So, but yeah. So what I want to do is, before we finish, obviously looking ahead to the Sweden game, because that, that's what we're all looking forward to for Tuesday. Andreas, do you think there's going to be any team changes from? Serena hasn't made any yet from the starting 11. She's kept the same team 4 games in a row. Is it going to be 5 in a row, or do you think there might be some changes this time because of players maybe needing a change or rest? What do you think is going to happen?
I think there will be one change. Alex Greenwood for Rachel Daly. I would recommend her to do this. It's really needed. I think Greenwood had a good impact when she came in last matches, and she did better than Rachel Daly, who had a lot of problems against Spain. So I expect this one change. Others, I think she will leave the team unchanged. She will also bring Ellen White, although I would prefer to see Alicia Russo in the starting. But we discussed this in the last show. Maybe the impact Russo and Toon are bringing from the bench will be decisive again. So so far Serena did everything right. I expect one change, Greenwood for Daly, and I hope it will work again, but it will be a tough match, and it will be a total different match for Sweden. They don't have to dominate the match. They can wait and let England dominate and play, and Sweden will try to counter attack, and they have players with a lot of pace. So a lot will depend on our defense, that we defend well, and therefore I would really like to see Alex Greenwood in defense.
Yeah, definitely. I wouldn't also agree, because what's going to happen is whoever plays left back for us is going to probably be up against Asllani, and we know how great she's been in this tournament. And I think that Alex Greenwood is probably better defensively. Yeah. And one thing I can agree with Raz on there, he says play Rachel Daly in her right position, and that's kind of what she's not a natural left back, is she? And I do think
right back.
She plays up front in America, so it's not a natural position. Not that she can't play there. She's played well, I think, overall in the tournament, but she had a lot of problems against Spain, and with the threat of Sweden. I do think that we do need Alex Greenwood there in this particular game, and I wouldn't make any other changes, because I think the impact off the bench of these players has been amazing, and that's where it needs to stay personally for me. But I mean, what do you think, Matt? Do you think there'll be some changes? Would you make any changes for the game yourself ahead of the Sweden game?
I think we need to. When I looked at that the game against Spain, that first 45 minutes, it was just almost as if they were so tired and overworked and they didn't know what to do with themselves. And you're thinking, right, at half time, take off Fran Kirby because it's not working. She's not getting involved as much as she has in the other games, and let Georgia Stanway take over and bring in someone that maybe take Leah a little bit more forward and maybe bring Alex Greenwood on. But in the end, she decides to do that a bit later on and put Millie Bright up top.
Well, it worked. It worked because within 2 minutes we scored. I know Millie Bright didn't score, but her presence in the penalty, I think, caused a load of confusion to Spain, and it actually helped to create a goal. So it's a good decision.
I think Sweden are a lot more physical as well than Spain. So I think we're going to have to see. I think we might see Demi Stokes start.
Demi Stokes, that's a good shout, actually. I mean, she's not played yet in a tournament, but that's not a bad shout, actually. I don't think she would start ahead of Alex Greenwood personally, because Serena seems to favour Alex Greenwood, doesn't she? But
no, I think Demi can play on both sides. So
yes, she can. Yeah,
you'd have Lucy.
Just Carter can play left back as well.
Yes, Carter. Yeah.
Yeah, there are players in there that can do a job that none of them don't really know about. So for me, it depends what you want to do, because you're going to have Magda Eriksson in that centre back role. So who do you want to occupy her? Do you want Ellen White, who's going to miss a chance score a goal, have one shot on target every 6 attempts? Or do you want Alessia Russo to be that nuisance for the first 60 minutes and then bring on Ellen White? It's hard. It
is tough. I mean, my feeling on that is, and I agree that Russo's been fantastic, absolutely brilliant. But I do feel as though if you want someone on the bench to come off the bench to have an impact, I think that Russo would have more of an impact from the bench than Ellen White would out of the two. So that's why I'll be tempted to start Ellen White, and then if necessary, we know we can bring Russo on, and she will cause absolute havoc to the Swedish defence later on. So would Ellen White be as effective from the bench as Russo can be from the bench? That would be my kind of worry with it, perhaps.
That is a good point, but we'd have to get into that attacking third, and if Ellen White's not getting anything in the attacking third, then she's basically wasted. You might as well have someone playing as a false nine, almost trying to just drag the central defenders out of position to try and make that space. That's how we got that equaliser for the Spain. It was Lauren Hemp that was dragging out wide, and the defenders just sort of pushed across, not realising that Ella Toon was in behind, and she made that late run. So it's small things that might make the difference. It's hard. I can't really call it, but if we were going to make changes, it would have to be for this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a difficult one. The Ellen White and Alessia Russo kind of situation is a difficult one, because Russo has made such an impression that she probably deserves to start a game, without a doubt. I think she's done enough to earn that. But ultimately, it's who would be better from the bench, I guess. Maybe it could even come down to that, because the substitution has been so important in every single game for England. In fact, in the tournament in general. So it is a really tough one for me, and I can't personally. I wouldn't want to have to make that choice. But knowing Serena and knowing how few changes she generally makes, I would be surprised if she makes that change to start the game. I think she'll stick with what she knows. And what's worked so far, which is.
I wouldn't be surprised if she doesn't change it, but if she was to change something, I think she would go for strength instead of technicality.
No, I agree, and that's the one change in the team that is the next potential. I think the left back situation needs to be looked at, and then the centre forward situation as well. And they're the two positions that I would look to change. Everything else probably would stay the same, you would imagine, because no one needs to be changed, I don't think. I mean, I saw a comment earlier. There's been a few since Gregory said something about. He goes, I still think Mead should start on the bench. Russo for the first half. You could leave Mead out. She's been the player of the tournament. She's top goal scorer. You don't leave her out your starting lineup. I don't know.
I don't think you can put Alessia on the wing, because she's such a tall player, and the way that she reacts to headers and things in the box is where she's needed. I don't think she has that ability to sprint past players on the outside on the wing.
I mean, Gregory's got a good point there. He says, think how angry Mead will be if she's left. Well, yeah, she's left out of the team. She will be angry, and she'll go around and score 4 goals when she comes on, probably. But I would still start her because she's just had an amazing tournament, and I just think you should play your players that are in form, and that should be what you do. Which is the argument for Alicia Russo, because she's in form, and Ella Toon as well. And it's how do you leave them out of the team? But equally, the players that are in the team have got us wins. So it's a really tough one, isn't it? But it's great that we've got this strength of this strength of depth, really, isn't it? Raz says there, Kirby was on stress leave 4 months and she looked into the squad. Yeah, I mean, she was, and that's a fact. I think she's earned her place in the squad, in the team, certainly in the tournament. She wasn't very good against Spain. She didn't get into that game particularly, and that's fair enough. But I think it's a bit harsh to say that, you know, she's walked straight into the squad. I mean, who could we realistically have picked in her position that's been left out that would have been a better option than her? I'm not sure if there's too many.
That was actually not injured at the time.
That was not injured, exactly. Yeah, that's what I mean. Players that were available and could have come in the squad and been as good as her. So I think that she definitely deserved her place in the squad, and she'd been playing well enough in the previous games to start the games. Whether or not that's another position actually. Maybe is it Ella Toon or Frank Kirby starts against Sweden potentially, because I guess Ella Toon again's done really well, and Frank Kirby wasn't great against Spain. But you know, one less than great performance out of 4 games so far, does that deserve her to be left out of the team? I'm not sure, but what the good thing is, we have to let Serena make those choices, and I'm sure she'll make the right ones. Terry says there, White can still be involved, that she can bring the water on at half time. That's a little bit harsh, isn't it? I mean, she's got 2 goals in this competition, you know, and she's like England's record goal scorer, so let's not diss her too much. Terry says White and Kirby is like playing with 9. No, that's a bit harsh as well. Imperative View says there, Toon should be starting over Fran. That is another close call, isn't it? I think but again, who would make more impression coming off the bench? Ella Toon will, then Frank Kirby probably would. So that's the other thing to think of, isn't it? And Gregory says there, how about if England are 2 up at half, bench Mead? What? She can have a rest on next Monday when the tournament's finished. She's got 6 weeks to have a rest. She can run for another 2 games. She can play another 2 games, then have a rest. She doesn't need a rest now. She can rest after the final, like all of them can. They deserve.
Can I just make a suggestion? If we had Kira Walsh and Jill Scott in that middle, and then put Georgia up as attacking midfield, that's also an option. Would you be willing to do that?
I mean, I would. Again, you see, I think that as we saw against Spain, bringing Jill Scott on in certain situations, playing Jill Scott in certain situations, I think from the start of a game that the onus is going to be on us to attack and win the game, isn't it? Because we're at home, we've got the fans with us, it's our tournament. And I think that maybe from the start, that's almost a little bit too negative. And I think that would send out the wrong message to Sweden. If we're winning, if we're 1-0 up with 5-10 minutes to go, get Jill Scott on to shore up that midfield. Definitely, I would 100% say do that. But I wouldn't necessarily start with her. Because I feel as though it's a negative move, and I think we need to be more on the front foot from the start of the game, because we started slowly against Spain, and I think against Sweden we need to start strongly and start on the front foot, attacking them and giving them problems, and then if necessary later in the game definitely make that change. I would agree, but I wouldn't start with it just because I would rather see a similar midfield structure that we've had so far. So Gregory says there, I want her well rested for the final. You just can't trust those Germans. Well, no, I mean, we don't need to rest her for the final. There's one more game. You know what I mean? She's got 2 more games left in her. She's got.
If we don't get to the final,
she can play 2 more games. All of them can. So she doesn't need to be rested. She can rest next Monday. First of all, however long they get off before they can rest then, all of them, and they can enjoy it as well. And as Imperative View says, let's win the semi first. No, exactly. Let's win the semis first. But yeah, if we rest all our players for the semi-final, but we rest them for the final, we won't be there because they won't have played in the semi-final, will they? So they need to work hard for 90 minutes, 120 minutes, potentially Tuesday, to get us in the final. Have a rest for a couple of days, and then bang, ready for Sunday. That's that way to do it. And if we do that, hopefully we will be in the final on Sunday, which is what we all want, of course. But it's not going to be easy, certainly. I mean, Emma, would you make any changes? I know we spoke about potential changes. Would you make? Can you see Serena making too many, first of all, and if not, would you make any yourself if it was your job to pick the team?
Not really, but the way Rachel Daly was owned in that second half, I can't remember who it was, but was it Esther and against Spain? I can't remember who it was now.
It was
Oh no, Del Castillo.
Castillo, wasn't it?
Del Castillo is another fantastic player. Yeah, maybe you could replay Greenwood instead of her, but I feel like no one's really mentioned. She's almost like a secret weapon in a way. I know we got Toon, Russo, got some brilliant strength and depth there, but I feel like nobody's mentioned Chloe Kelly. I mean, she brings a bags of energy and pace as well. So maybe you could start.
There's a reason no one's mentioned Chloe Kelly is because she doesn't really do anything. She just.
Well, I suppose with Hep, she's linked up brilliantly at Man City. I mean,
was it about 4 corners she took the entire of the Spain game, and that was it.
But she could. I suppose it's maybe not for starting. I know she's just come back from an ACL injury, of course, yeah. But I mean, there's the case that she could get more minutes if we need some. If we need some pace down the wings or something. She links up brilliantly with Lauren Hemp, as we've seen in the past with City. But yeah, I can't see Beth or Ellen being left out. And then potentially you could bring in Ella Toon or Alicia Russo in for them. But it just goes to show the strength and depth we have available to this squad. So yeah, I would stick with the winning formula, but maybe just change one of the defenders if things are going right.
Yeah, I mean, I think the left back needs to be sorted out because that's one of the reasons strength down the right hand side, isn't it? So I think that we definitely need to get that decision's got to be a right decision, and the rest, I think Serena will leave it as it was because she isn't noted for making unnecessary changes. She said so herself anyway. Unless there's any injuries or God forbid any COVID cases in the next couple of days, I can't see her making too many changes actually.
No.
Imperative View says there Chloe's ability to take on players and put in enticing crosses is impeccable. I mean, to be honest, I think Chloe Kelly's a good option. I think she is, and I think she's done pretty well in the game she's come on and she's made an impact. But I don't think I would start her ahead of either Beth or Lauren Hemp at this moment in time.
No.
She shouldn't start ahead of them. If you can come on and have an impact that she has done, that's fine. And Terry says there, White's been missing too many chances. We do have Paris. Yeah, I mean, Nikita Paris came on against Spain. She did all right, didn't she? I mean, White has been missing some chances. Of course she has. She's missed a few, but she's at tournaments. She does tend to get big goals when they matter. And I won't be surprised if she does again on Tuesday if she plays. But yeah, there's a lot of decisions that Serena's got to make, tough decisions as well, and they're important decisions because it's going to decide whether we're in the final or not. And
there's only 3 out of 4 players that we haven't used actually. Sorry, it's Demi, Beth England, and what was the other one? Lotta, Demi, and Beth England. So there's 4 options there that no one's probably seen before. So
yeah,
I mean, usually, and I know situations change with injuries and stuff, but when you get to a semi-final of a tournament, if a player hasn't made an appearance up till then, they're unlikely to make an appearance in the semi-final or subsequently the final. They may come off the bench late in the game, like Jill Scott did the other night and Paris did. But I don't think any of those players that haven't played yet are likely to feature unless there's some injury to key players that they need. I mean, Lotta could play if Millie Bright, heaven forbid, had to miss the game for any reason. You'd imagine Lotta would be, or I suppose Alex Greenwood would probably be the first choice to come in. But if she wasn't playing left back, there's a possibility then. But I wouldn't imagine any of those 3 players are going to feature much now, if I'm honest. But we'll see what happens. Let's have a look. Gregory says there, Chloe's playing is still uneven. Sometimes she's well, other times you won't. Then she's a little bit inconsistent. That's true. But then I guess a lot of wide players you can say that about because you need to have the ball when you play wide, don't you, and stuff like that. And I do think her delivery is generally pretty good. Imperative View says I ain't having Paris at all. I do like Nikita Paris. I've got to be honest. I do like her, and it didn't quite work out for Arsenal this season, unfortunately. But I like her attitude. She works hard, and I was pleased to see her get some minutes the other night. Actually, Gregory says Paris is overrated. Well, she's not overrated by Imperative Views because Imperative View doesn't like her, so she's definitely not overrated. I like her, so maybe I'm overrated. I don't know, but I happen to really like her. So, she's not going to start, obviously, on Tuesday, I wouldn't imagine, because Serena's not going to do that unless there's a massive injury crisis or something, which hopefully there won't be. I mean, I must admit, it's 48 hours until the game, and I'm starting to feel a little bit apprehensive about, not apprehensive, a little anxious, I would say, about it. It's a semi-final, it's such a big game, and it's going to be a stressful night. Andreas, what is your score prediction, first of all, for the England game? Do you think England are going to be in the final? This time next week, actually, the final is, isn't it, next Sunday night? So this time we'll be actually watching the final, hopefully with England in it, and possibly Germany as well. But what's your prediction for Tuesday first?
For Tuesday, I think we will see 120 minutes of football again. Because it will be really, really difficult to break the Swedish defense. And one player we didn't mention or talk about is Bethany England. I think she could make an impact if she comes from the bench, maybe in extra time. I saw her many times coming from the bench for Chelsea, and she scored. This is a player. I think she hasn't played in this tournament so far, but you could bring her in for the last 30 or 15 minutes, and she could decide the match. But score prediction, I say we'll have extra time, and we won't see many goals. So England will win 1-0 after extra time.
1-0 after extra time. Oh, that's going to be a painful half an hour at the end, isn't it? If it's 1-0 after extra time, definitely, like it was the other night. But we'll settle for that. We'll take 1-0 after extra time. We're about to settle that. Any win will do. Matt, what are you predicting? Hopefully, you're predicting Sweden to win. But, let's see.
Gregory's got it right. I wish I kind of had a heart monitor, because the way my heart was in my mouth watching that game all through 120 minutes. I was just so I just have a feeling it's going to be one of those games, but I'm going to predict 1-0 Sweden.
Good stuff. Yeah, we'll definitely settle for a 1-0 Sweden from Matt's prediction. We love that. Let's hope you're wrong, but you're right. But you definitely see what I mean. That's what we like to see. Amar, what about you? What's your prediction then for Tuesday?
Yeah, I don't think we'll fear. You see, we showed Spain too much respect. They got through that game. Ultimately, got stronger as the game went on and extra time. And Sweden aren't up to scratch. I know Kelly already was reading a piece from Kelly Smith and Pat Dowie earlier, and Izzy Christensen. If they're not up to scratch, then I just don't think they'll be able to live with us. And I think we will be a bit more aggressive in this game. We'll be a bit more in their faces. And I think we'll cruise through. I think we'll be 3-0 or 3-1.
Okay, bring on 3-1. And Hughes has gone 3-1 as well. Terry says Andreas is turning into Matt. He's not. He said we're going to win.
We'll win.
We're going to win 1-0. So that's fine. We don't mind winning 1-0 after extra time. That's a good result.
Terry's a big Terry.
But 3-1 in Pretty Views said there. I don't think it's going to be as straightforward as that at all. I think Sweden have got the experience of tournament. They've got some very, very good players. In this tournament so far, they've done enough that they've needed to do in the games that they've had to do. I think they'll have to raise their game against us. I'm sure that they will. And I think it's going to be a very tough game. But ultimately, I do feel the home crowd, I think the momentum. One thing in Sweden's favour is the fact that they've played at Sheffield United previously in a competition already. They've played 2 games there. We haven't played there yet in the competition, and that may give Sweden a slight advantage there. They know the pitch, they know the area, they know the changing rooms, they know the setup. And we're going in there having not played there in the tournament. So there's a slight advantage to Sweden there, but ultimately we've got the crowd on our side. We've got the momentum on our side. We've got everything in our favour at the moment. I do think we will win. I've got a feeling it may well be extra time as well. I've got that kind of feeling that it may go the full distance. But I do think we'll win. I'm going to go 2-1, a bit like Spain. I think it'll be 1-1 at 90 minutes. I'm not sure we'll go behind this time. I think we may score and Sweden may scrape an equaliser, and then I think we'll win it in extra time. And it may well be, again, one of the substitutes that comes off the bench to get the winner. Terry says a lot of Wouba Moy scores 2 in the final. Well, I don't know if he's going to score 2 in the final sitting on the bench, but anyway, you never know. Gregory says there, I'm scared to watch you watching Sweden after watching you watch Spain. I don't know if I can handle that much stress. Well, I'm not doing a watch along of Sweden because I'm actually at the game, so I won't be actually doing a watch along. So you can watch the game in peace on Tuesday, and then we just have to catch up with a vlog afterwards. But yeah, I mean, I enjoyed the Spain game, but it was stressful. I mean, it was really, really stressful, and I was, just
No, I was
grateful.
there. I was there. I was very stressful.
Well, no, it must have been fantastic. Amar, to have been in that stadium and to
Oh, unbelievable.
when that Ella Toon goal went in. I mean,
Yeah.
we were going mad at home watching it on the telly. You must have been going crazy in the stadium.
Yeah, that and when Stanways hit the back of the net as well. It just exploded. Absolutely exploded. It was great. Yeah.
Yeah,
But for a long while in that game, it was so tense. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it was very.
You know
very
what's
tough.
great about having these home tournaments as well is that we're witnessing these sorts of moments that we would have to say if they were being played over in Switzerland or something like that. We're not being we're actually there, and we can say, well, we were there and the atmosphere was amazing. And just to have a home tournament in your lifetime, it doesn't come along very much. So if anyone has a tournament at home, whether it's an under-17s tournament, an under-19s tournament, anything, just go, because the experience alone will bring you lifetime memories. I will never forget the Netherlands doing their dancing, their walks, or anything like that they've been doing, because I was there. And
oh wow,
it makes you appreciate the team, the players and the fans making all that effort, coming over, spending so much money just to come over and watch those teams play.
Yeah, it does. No, you're right. I 100% agree with that. And the memories that I've got from the games I've been to, being actually there as fantastic, and that stuff I'll always treasure, because it's been. It makes you. I think it does make you look on a tournament in a different way, doesn't it? Like you said, if it's a tournament of all, like the World Cup that's coming up in the winter, we're going to look on that in a completely different way, because it's on the other side of the world, And this tournament here, we've all four of us have been in the stadiums. We've experienced the games. We've experienced the atmosphere, watching our own nation, watching other nations as well, and it's been an amazing experience, actually. And in a way, and I don't know whether or not it's because of it's coincided with the real rise in women's football and the real kind of rise in the standard and everything. And it feels like a really important moment, actually, this tournament. And it feels to have been a part of that. It just feels so important to have been a part of it. And with the men's team, maybe it doesn't feel like that so much, because it isn't at that stage. It's gone well past that stage, hundreds of years ago. So but to be here now in women's football and experiencing this, I think it's such an important moment. And I think people in years to come, maybe long after we've gone, people will still look on this tournament and say this was a turning point for women's football. This was the thing that was the and we were a part of it, all of us, and all the other thousands and thousands of people that have been to games, and it's been great. And I'm kind of going to be really sad when it's finished, actually. We haven't won it, but even if we won it, next Monday morning when I wake up, I'm going to be sad that the tournament's over, because it's been, whoever's in the final, whoever wins it or whatever, I'm going to be really sad that it's over, because it's just been fantastic. And it has been probably the greatest tournament. I mean, I've seen so many different tournaments in my lifetime, World Cup, Euros, men's, women's, everything. This has been the tournament I've enjoyed the most out of all of them previously, and I don't want it to finish, but it is going to be finished next week, which is a shame. But we're going to enjoy the last few games anyway. I'm sure we all will. And hopefully it gets the right finale that we all want, which is obviously Leah Williamson going up, getting that trophy about 10 o'clock next Sunday, or maybe 11 o'clock if it goes all the distance and stuff like that. So that's what we're hoping for. But it's not quite as simple as that, I suppose. And Gregory says, I agree with 3-1. No, that's good. We'll take 3-1. Imperative Views has made the best point of the night. Most importantly, we've got Serena. Exactly. We've got Serena, and that's the most important thing.
Even when we trust, yes.
Exactly, we do. As Amar said on his blog the other week, Serena's the one. He said, in it, he's right.
Did I say Serena's the one? Did I say
Serena, you're the one? You did say that, which is great. So you're right. Yeah. You're right. So that's good. Gregory says there, Stanway's goal was glorious. It would have been glorious anyway, but the fact it was a winning goal in a quarter final made it even more glorious, didn't it? So let's hope for another one on Tuesday. Terry says 4-1, game over by the 73rd minute. Well, I mean, that would be quite nice, I must admit. I would quite enjoy that if it was 4-1 in the 73rd minute, but I kind of got a feeling it might not be. I've just got this feeling that it might not be quite that straightforward. But I do think we'll win. But I do think it might be extra time, and I'm going to go 2-1 after extra time, and then we can all look forward to next Sunday with a little bit more excitement, perhaps. Andreas, then quickly, Wednesday, Germany, France. What's your prediction for that one? I know you said France before. Do you think France will win? Or are you just doing the match situation, saying France will win, meaning that you really think Germany will win?
I see two possibilities. Of course, we will do another extra time. If it's over after 120 minutes, then France will win 2-1. But the other chance is it's 2-2. We go into penalties, and Germany will win the penalty shootout.
Well, of course, Germany win penalties. we know Germany win penalties. That's already.
That's the rule in football. If it goes to penalty shootout, then Germany will win. I hope this will be done on Wednesday.
No, that's always the case. So yeah, I'm sure that would happen again. I'm pretty sure it would. Imperative Views has gone 2-1 to Germany. Yeah, I wouldn't. Again, it's difficult to predict this one. Matt, what are you thinking then for Germany against France?
If I'm honest, I think France are going to run out of steam, and if they run out of steam, are they going to score that goal? That's not going to give Germany that 100% record going into that final. It's a hard one.
It is.
I think I'll go with a 1-0 Germany just to be safe.
Okay, well, it could well be 1-0 Germany. There's every reason to think it might be. Amar, what about you? What are you thinking then? Germany against France on Wednesday at Milton Keynes. What do you think?
I think it'll probably be a cracker. I mean, Germany haven't conceded so far, but France have so many options going forward. They're both brilliant teams. I think it's going to be 2-2 after extra time, and we'll go to a shootout, and Germany will probably win the shootout. So let's see.
Yeah, well, if it's a shootout, we know Germany will win. Actually, if it finishes after extra time and it's level, they might as well not even bother having a penalty. Just put Germany in the final because we know they're going to win anyway. So it's just wasting everybody's time. It's wasting 15 minutes of our life. Just say Germany have won and put them through.
2015 World Cup. Remember what happened there? Yeah, remember what happened in the 2015 World Cup as well. So yeah, let's see.
Well, yeah,
last minute.
They do usually win the penalties. I mean. It's a very, very difficult one to call this, actually. There's part of me that kind of want, if we're in the final, there's kind of part of me that wants Germany to get to the final, as Matt said, without conceding a goal. And then Beth Mead can score the only goal Germany letting in the 1-0. I mean, that's perfect, isn't it? But I don't know. I mean, before last night, I would have said Germany would get to the final without even the second thought. But having seen France last night, I was so impressed with how they played that I'm starting to think now this is going to be a very difficult game to call. I still do feel, again, it's a tournament. You're never back against Germany in a tournament because we know what happens. No. They're a tournament specialists. France haven't got a great record, have they, in the closing? They've never been in a semi-final before. So of a Euro. So I think on that basis alone, I am going to say Germany's experience and Germany's mentality and everything else will get them over the line. It's not going to be easy. It may well be extra time. It may even be penalties, as we said. But I do think Germany will win eventually. Somehow they'll find a way to win the game, and that's what's going to happen. And hopefully it will be an England-Germany final next Sunday, which is what we all want. Isn't it? We definitely want that. So let's hope that everything works out that way, and we can look forward to next Sunday. Looking forward to that game, which is going to be great. So I mean, what's been brilliant tonight is having all three of you guys in at the same time. It's been brilliant actually because it's felt like the old times again, and hopefully the new times as well when the season starts. We'll all be back again doing the women's show on a Friday as usual. But it's been nice because it seems like a long time since we've all been together. So that's been really cool. And it's been great that as well, that all of us have managed to get to several games at the Euros. It's been great. And I've got one more. Are you still going to the final, Matt?
Yeah.
Oh man, it's going to be so good. Yeah, I mean, if it is England Germany, that is just going to be an amazing night. I mean, I'll be so jealous that everyone that's going is going to have such a good time. But yeah, I mean, that's going to be good. But I've got my final game is on Tuesday, England-Sweden. So I'm looking forward to that. Hopefully it can be a good way to finish for me. and and then Matt can really enjoy the final on Sunday. That is going to be incredible. I mean, even if England aren't in it, which heaven forbid that's not the case, but it's going to be an incredible occasion there, isn't it? To be, like we said, how great the tournament's been, and how important it's been for women's football, and the final is going to be the showpiece of the whole thing, isn't it? And whoever's in the final, when you look at these 4 teams that are left, whoever the final's between, even if it's Sweden against France, which isn't what we want. If that was the case, it would still be a fantastic game of football, and it would still be a great showcase for a women's tournament as well. So we obviously won't enjoy it as much as we would do if it was the other way around. But ultimately, it will still be great for women's football. But yeah, I mean, it's going to be such a great occasion next Sunday. Let's just hope that it is England and Germany that are there. Peter View says, big up to the panel. Thank you very much for your support as always. It's always great to see you in the chat as usual. Gregory says, I think whoever scores first will win. Well, potentially, but then we maybe said the same for the Spain game, and that actually wasn't the way it worked out. So, yes, I would say you'd look at both of those 2 games, and you do think the first goal is going to be massively important. And if you get yourself in front, you're going to have a great chance of winning, aren't you? Terry says, great show again, chaps. Nice to see you all together again. Take care and see you all after the semi-final. 4-1 win. I'd expect you. Terry, to be honest with you, if you're right, if we do win 4-1, then obviously that will be fantastic. I'll be happy to be. I'll be happy to that we're all wrong and you've got it right. I'm sure we will be. I did see a comment actually earlier. I don't know if it was when I was away because my computer decided to pack up. Did you mention that that Pete Drake sent you a CD? Because if he has, that is fantastic. I saw it there. Yeah, he said there you go. He says more important than all these semi-final brothers. Oh, that's fantastic. I'm glad you've got one because you deserve to get one anyway. And I'm glad that Pete sorted it out for you because he's a great lad and he's made some great songs actually over the course of time with great lyrics. So that song, obviously the Beautiful Game and Left Foot, Right Foot, Header. You can there's a link in the description to all the videos that we're doing at the minute. So that get that music because it's brilliant. Play it loud and proud on Tuesday all day and all night and support the Lionesses to hopefully get to the final. What I'm going to do, actually, I've got it on my phone, so I've got a little speaker. I've got a little Bluetooth speaker, so I'm going to take that with me. And outside the ground, I'm going to be playing those 2 songs on Tuesday. So if you hear them, it'll be me playing them off me thing. I want everyone to join in and get behind it. And it's going to be brilliant. So if you're around Bramall Lane on Tuesday and you hear either of those 2 songs or both of those 2 songs, it'll be me playing them on my phone. So definitely come and say hello and join in. We'll have a little dance and sing song. That'll be good. And so, yeah, that'll be on Tuesday. What I'll be doing, obviously, because I'm going to the game on Tuesday, there won't be any watch along of that. I did just actually put a vlog on for yesterday's game, France against Netherlands. If you're interested in that, it's a good vlog actually. Lots of good stuff on there from the game and the day itself and the travel and everything else. They're old ground as well, so definitely check that out. And then obviously Tuesday I'm at the game, so I'll do a vlog of that. That will probably be out at some point on Wednesday. Then obviously Wednesday is the other semi-final. I might well do a watch along of that actually. Germany against France. It's going to be such a good game. So we'll probably cover that one to see who's in the final. If England get knocked out Tuesday, I maybe won't because I'll probably be too sad to do that. But if England win on Tuesday, I'll definitely do a watch along of the Germany-France game. And then of course what we will do then is potentially Friday maybe have a preview of the final. Maybe Friday, if you guys are all available for that. We could maybe do a preview of the final. Whoever's in it, if it's England or not, if it's Germany or not, we'll still do a preview of it and look back on the tournament as a whole, perhaps as well. Because unfortunately, what's happening is straight after the final, we're building straight up to the start of the Premier League. So there's going to be loads of stuff building up. So we're not really going to get much time after the final to look back on the final. I want to try and do something, obviously, especially if England have won, to do something next week, the week after, if we can. But with the build up to the new Premier League season, it might be difficult. But Friday, we'll do a final preview. We'll look back on the tournament as a whole. We'll maybe pick our goal in the tournament, all that kind of stuff, do a little good stuff about that. And then I say we'll then be looking ahead to the start of the Premier League season. Well, it seems to have come around quick, but probably it hasn't done. It's come around quicker because we've spent the last 3 weeks with football. So it doesn't feel like there's any break for football, really, which sometimes we need. But anyway, it's been worth it because it's been great. Russ has finally turned up. Sorry, I'm like, no problem, Russ. It's good to see you, mate. You're welcome anytime. There's no, there's no cut-off point where you can join in. You can join in whenever you like, as long as we're still here. So it's good to see you again. Anyway, don't forget, I still need your address. You still haven't sent it to me. So send me your address. I'll get your CD out because Terry's already got his and he never even won. That's not really fair. He's lost and he's actually got his CD before you have. But anyway, But that wasn't nothing to do with me. I had no part to play in that, but he deserved one anyway. Anyway, thank you very much to Andreas. Have you enjoyed the show, Andreas? Looking forward to this week, the semi-finals.
Of course, I enjoyed being in the show, and I'm looking forward to two fantastic semi-finals. Hoping for England and Germany to win, but anyway, as you said, it's a fantastic tournament, and whoever reaches the final finally deserves it. And I will watch the final anyway. But of course, I hope that at least one of my two teams.
So you're lucky. You've got two options. We haven't. We've just got one. We've got to pin all our hopes on one game. At least if England lose on Tuesday, you've still got another chance. You've got a second go at it. We haven't, unfortunately. But
don't let any negative thoughts come around. First Tuesday and first the Lionesses, and then we'll see on.
No, I mean, I'm confident that it's going to be the final that we all want. I'm confident that it will be. But like you said, two difficult games for both teams, two big games. It's going to be great, and it's going to be a stressful week, I'm sure, but a good week as well. I mean, Matt, again, thank you very much for joining us. Always good to see you. Have you enjoyed being part of the show again? And looking forward to the big games this week.
Yeah, and it's been so nice to be able to be back on, talk football, and just enjoy the tournament. It's been. I don't really want to say life-changing, but it almost has in a way that it's just opened the door to I didn't realise anything about the Dutch before this tournament, like the fan-wise. The way they sing some of their songs, the way they dance after. It's almost their version of Sweet Caroline that they have. They jump to it's almost like a cha-cha slide / Sweet Caroline that they do at the end. It's brilliant. I think it's developed a huge interest now to go to some of these other tournaments wherever they are. Obviously, they've got the World Cup coming up next summer around this time, so it'll be an interesting one, that's for sure. And
it's a long way away, that one, though, Matt. It's a long way to travel to that one.
I won't be able to travel to that one, that's for sure. But there's two more Euros and wherever they are going to be in the future, and hopefully we'll be able to see them out. Well, see how they develop, because it's going to be a fantastic watch wherever they are next.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, I must admit, I'm definitely seriously considering the next Euros, booking a holiday and going and to see a few games, in the next Euros. I think that's going to be fantastic. It's anything like how it's been this summer. So I'm definitely thinking of doing that. And Emma as well, fantastic to see you as always. Are you looking forward to this stressful week that we're going to have, no doubt?
No, I'm excited. I mean, before the tournament, I said, this is the biggest event of the year. I think it's going to be fantastic. And it has certainly more than lived up to its billing. Those crowds seeing 16 goals, which is almost a fifth of the tournament total, and seeing 100,000 people in attendance at those 3 games has been life-changing, as Matt has said. And I couldn't agree more with him there. So whatever happens, I just think it's been a well-organised, well-supported tournament. And long live women's football. 17 years ago, I've been following. So it's coming up to be 20 years now. So bring it on. Whatever happens. But of course, come on, England.
Have you really seen 16 goals in the games you've been to?
Yeah, that's right.
Wow. I've been to 4 games, right, and I've seen 4 goals. And one of them was a penalty in extra time last night. England won, Austria 0. I've had Sweden 1, Holland 1. And then obviously 1-0 last night. And then, what was the other game? We've been to another game as well. Oh, that was
game. It's your 4th game, isn't it? This will be your 4th game.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, I've been to 3 games and there's been 4 goals. Yeah.
I've been to
2 1-0 wins and a 1-1 draw. So I'm hoping there might be a few goals on Tuesday. But hopefully, maybe Terry's right. If it's 4-1, that'll make up for all the 1-0s and the 1-1s I've seen so far. So I hope you are right, Terry. That'd be good. And then Terry says, Matt enjoyed the 6-2 England winning the final. Well, if it was, that would be great, wouldn't it? But I've not conceded a goal so far.
And
6 against them in the final seems a little bit unlikely, but
just a quick heads up. I thought I'd let you know it's not been officially announced who's going to host the next Euros, but I just read that it's going to the Nordic countries, as well as being supported by the Faroes and Iceland, have put in a bid. So let's see what happens.
Iceland would be good, wouldn't it? I wouldn't mind going to Iceland.
And Iceland.
Faroe Islands and Iceland will be supporting the Scandinavian countries.
Oh, right, okay. So that's the Nordic bid is 4, because that's a bit of an odd one. So that means that's 4.
So is it all the Nordic countries together will be hosting it?
I think so. So it's Sweden, Norway, Finland, and Denmark. Yeah.
Interesting.
Which means there's 12 spots open for grabs, which is a bit odd, really.
Yeah.
They'd have to fix that somehow.
Yeah, Denmark, Finland, Norway, Sweden. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't mind going to Iceland. I've always wanted to go to Iceland. So if we had a game in Iceland, it'd be quite nice. And that would be pretty cool. So I wouldn't mind that, actually. But anyway, we'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm definitely wanting to go to the next Euros and you know, just experience the games in a different country as well and compare it, maybe see how they hosted it compared to how we hosted it and what the atmospheres are like and all that kind of stuff would be good, wouldn't it? Yeah, and I kind of, you know, I've been kind of quite envious of, you know, when you see the fans from the other countries that have come to support their team, like the Dutch fans last night and all these other fans, you know, that you've seen, it's like their experience of that, you know, coming over to a different country, supporting their country is a totally different experience, isn't it? And I've kind of been quite jealous of them because they look like they've had such a great time, all of them, enjoying the games, enjoying the atmosphere and everything else. It must have been fantastic. And I want to kind of experience that as an England fan in a different country next time, actually, because I just think it's been great. You know, speaking to some of the other fans from the other that we've seen, it's just been the Dutch fans. I agree with Matt. The Dutch fans are just absolutely amazing. They are just incredible. You know what the atmosphere that they generate. Last night they were dancing and jumping about. It's absolutely brilliant. I loved it. And you know, they dress up and everything else. You know, in these costumes and all this kind of stuff. Brilliant. You know, wearing clogs and all kinds of stuff. Fantastic. They're brilliant. The Dutch fans have been fantastic.
If Germany get to the final, you might see some of their fans wearing lederhosen. Who knows? But anyway.
Well, Andreas will be wearing that. We'll obviously on the watch along that he's doing. I would have thought. But no, I mean, yeah. To be honest, I haven't seen it. I didn't go to a Germany game, so I don't really know. I'm assuming their fans would have been dressing up. Most of the other countries seem to be dressing up in kind of, you know, national costume or something. It's been great. It's been a lot of fun, and the atmosphere in the games has just been brilliant. Really, really good, and I've just enjoyed it all, and I can't wait for the next tournament, if I'm honest. But we've still got I've still got one game to go to this time. Matt's still got the biggest one of all to go to, which is fantastic. That is just going to be what an experience that will be. Brilliant, that's going to be. So, well, what we'll do, so we'll be back live on Friday. Hopefully, looking back on 2 brilliant semi-finals, 2 brilliant results that we want, looking ahead to the final. And all that kind of stuff. So that's going to be on Friday. And then, of course, the final on Sunday. We'll be obviously doing coverage of the final as well. And it is going to be a great way to end what's been a fantastic few weeks of women's football. And like it's been a game changer, isn't it? You know, we saying life changing. It's been life changing for a lot of people, and it's going to be certainly a game changer for women's football going forward. And this is going to be the moment everyone will look back on, as I said before, and say that was a tournament where it all started for everybody. Definitely. And we were all part of it, and we can feel proud of that, actually. And it's been great, and I've enjoyed sharing it all with you guys as well. Actually, you know, the blogs that you've done, the shows that we've done, it's just been brilliant. And the good news is that the Arsenal season, WSL season, starting soon, and we'll be back looking forward to that and enjoying that together as well in the new season. So it's you know, it's all good. When one door closes, another one opens. That's what it's like. Absolutely. So moving from this on to that, and what more can you want, really? It's fantastic, isn't it? So, so you will see you live on Friday. Everyone, please enjoy the games this week. If you're going on Tuesday at Bramall Lane, really enjoy that. If you see me, say hello. I'll wave to you, and we can have a little chat. And I'll be playing the song as well, so you can join it. We can have a little sing song. And if you're going to the other semi-final at Milton Keynes, enjoy that as well. I'm sure the atmosphere will be fantastic. I'm sure there'll be 3/4 of the ground will be Germany's band, a few hundred French fans in the corner, because the French. I was a bit disappointed with a number of French fans last night, actually. So I'm sure there'll be a few more for the semi-final, maybe, but I don't know. It'll be mostly Germany, I would imagine, because they have had a lot of fans at all the games that they've played. So I'm sure that will be the case again. But yeah, so
for the Netherlands team when they do the fan walk, imagine them going around the roundabout. The amount of roundabouts they have, it wouldn't be able for them to do. They'd be lost halfway trying to find the stadium.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would have been nice if they'd been there actually to have done that. But anyway. And maybe next time they'll do better. They'll get a better manager. They might have a chance, maybe. But anyway, so if you are going to the games this week, enjoy them, and we're watching them anyway. If you're watching them on telly, enjoy them because it's going to be fantastic. We will see you live on Friday. Thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for all your comments. Don't forget to give it a like and subscribe as well if you haven't done so already. Thank you very much, of course, to Andreas, to Matt, and to Amar, the full team in the house. That's brilliant. What a night it's been. And let's hope we'll all be celebrating on Tuesday and Wednesday. We can enjoy it even more if that's the case. So thanks everyone for watching. Don't forget, see you live on Friday. Look out for the vlog from yesterday. It's up now, and look out for the vlog from Tuesday coming up as well, which is going to hopefully be a good one. And we'll see you all very soon. Take it easy, guys. As always, come on, you Lionesses. It is coming home. Let's do it. Let's do it. See you later, guys. Take it easy. Take it.
There's shin pads, hairbands, rainbow laces, brand new fans and different races. Another camp with COVID cases, an England squad with brand new faces. Here we go, the summer's here. Meet your friends and grab a beer. Football's on, the beautiful game, from St. Mary's to Bramall Lane. It's just a game.